Yeah, listen, I think I was speaking for era, right? Like there was a time in MMA when Anderson Silva was thought of as the greatest of all time. And during that era, I did think that, but like every era is its own. Like BJ Penn was once thought of the greatest fighter of all time, without a doubt. And then George St. Pierre was thought of as the greatest fighter of all time when Anderson's aura slipped a little. I think today the greatest fighter of all time is John Jones. That's a guy I've picked against a bunch of times, and I've had egg on my face, so I've just got to deal with it. But guys, what is a goat anyway? Like the truth of the matter is, the goat system isn't real, but it's accomplishing what you did in the moment. For has anyone accomplished more? And I totally get that. When Anderson was on his middleweight run of 10 title defenses, it was incredible. And let me say this, I can point out all of Anderson's flaws. Anderson doesn't have awesome jiu-jitsu, but he had good enough jiu-jitsu to understand how to not get caught in a lot of things that went on at that time for guys who weren't as versed. What Anderson did not have very good wrestling. It's why he kept his hands down so he could underhook and avoid the takedown and avoid having to use his jiu-jitsu. What he had was a blend of Taekwondo, which is what he started with, and Muay Thai, right? Like, so his accuracy came from Taekwondo and his technique came from Muay Thai. And that was on display against Rich Franklin, right? Who didn't know how to defend a Thai plume. And that's George Grizel's fault, right? I don't know what to say about that. George St. Pierre, he had quite a run himself too, but at a time when he was about to be seen as duel with Anderson, he got knocked out by Matt Serra. Now, Matt Serra was Rocky Balboa in that moment, right? Like knocking out the greatest fighter in the world. Michael Bisping knocking out Anderson Silva. And I think that happens in MMA because there's so many different ways to win. So, and Bisping has a history of that. I mean, when Bisping knocked out Rockhold, I think the person who was most shocked in the room was Rockhold, right? Like, so, that's the great thing about MMA. And boxing isn't the same, right? A champion can kind of lay back or not too much or follow or whatever, like the Canelo Skull fight, any number of Floyd Mayweather's final fights, and just get the decision and play it safe. And MMA is just not that way. The gloves are too small. There's too many avenues to victory. So to answer your question directly, Anderson was the GOAT for a time. I don't think he's the GOAT anymore. I think John Jones right now is the GOAT. And I think one of the reasons he doesn't want to fight Aspinall is he doesn't want to lose that GOAT status, because as soon as we see our GOAT laid out on the floor, like happened to George St. Pierre, like happened to Anderson Silva, it's really hard for us to look at him as the GOAT anymore. And that's just how human beings are. It's kind of sad. But don't worry, there'll be a new GOAT. There always is. Everybody read my book, Warrior of the Light.